Hey everyone, thank you for listening to Marathon Money. Actually sitting with here, Derek, legendary sniper FX. Um, Met him through Instagram. He willing to come on the show with us, and we're about to, jump into like stocks, the stuff he does, his platform, and how he trades, and his mindset on how the future is gonna go for investing and trading. Derek,
Man, it's a blessing and an honor to be here, man. I appreciate the invite, boss.
man. So, man, how you got into trading?
It's crazy. So when I first started day trading, I remember I always been kind of an investor. I invested into Bitcoin kind of basically around 2015, 2016. I was a college football athlete, but I was always kind of just onto like the investing side. I always used to kind of just do entrepreneur stuff like, sell candy or sell fire sticks and stuff like that, just to kind of make a living. Because back then they were getting like NIL deals and stuff like that. So times were kind of rough, man, trying to make, have some extra funds. So I was always trying to do some, entrepreneur stuff while trading, while playing football, right? So then I started looking into investing. I came across Bitcoin, started doing some research on it, and I invested it, caught it at like 3,000. And then, I didn't really know what it was doing. I was just buying and selling. Didn't really know too much about it, but I was like, you know what? This is kind of the future, So I thought about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna kind of revisit something like this once I'm done with football. Then what happened was, I stopped playing as far as I got injured. I think in 2017, it was my first time kind of just being on the bench. I was an All-American college football athlete. My freshman year, I was leading all the conference and tackles as a linebacker. My sophomore year, so I had experience, being on the field, man. But this was my first time being on the bench. So it was a big life change for me because, I think, having an ego and just, seeing yourself from being one of the star players on the team to really just not playing at all due to an injury. And then after the injury, I just didn't get back on the field. So it was a big adjustment for me. And during that time, I used that as an opportunity to kind of look into other avenues. That's when I kind of researched on Google, what's the best ways to kind of make, good living for yourself, kind of just working on your own. Then I think day trading was something that I was interested. Day trading was one of the things that was listed on Google. So I didn't think much of it. I had it in the back of my head, right? Ended up not really playing my senior year. Um, like I said, just things didn't go well. And then I had an opportunity to play professional in Canada. So I had an opportunity to play professional football in Canada. I signed a contract. Luckily, my freshman and sophomore year, tape was pretty good to where, a team, BC Lions, offered me a contract to come out there and try to compete for a spot for the, their roster. So when I went down there, you know, more enough, what happened was I was like, okay, I wasn't really doing good, right? I was gonna get cut. And my last day, I seen somebody day trading on their phone. Seen them day trading during practice. And for me, I was like, man, the guy made like about $1,000 that day or something like that. And I just seen it in person. I'm like, yo, man, this is a sign. Like, I had some, history looking at it, maybe like in 2017, it's 2019 at the time, seeing that somebody on my last day of practice is doing this, I said, you know what, I gotta actually, get into this. So then, I stopped playing football, gave up football, right? I got cut, didn't make that professional team. So I decided that, hey, you know what? I'm just going to move forward, not play football no more. Then that's when I actually started working as an accountant. That's what I majored in. So I got my degree in being an accountant, right? So I started working as being an accountant. That wasn't doing good well. I mean, you got to think from the transition from going playing in front of, thousands of people to literally, sitting at a desk. Those are just two different lives, right? So it was just a hard adjustment for me. I'm sure playing college football, the adjustment of what it's like after
Yeah,
football,
the
man.
adjustment is difficult, man. Going
It's
from
not easy.
fast pace to slow.
Yeah, it's not easy because I'm kind of just trying to identify myself and then just kind of see what my true purpose is. So during that time, like I said, I was working being an accountant, but I didn't really like it. So that's when I kind of just took a sales job because I kind of want to stay in that kind of competitive atmosphere. Just being a natural competitor, right? So I got into sales. I started doing that. I think I was doing like staffing and recruiting for like engineers. And during that time, I said, you know what? I'm gonna take this day trading thing. I'm gonna look into it, and I started actually day trading while I was at that job. And then, man, so crazy. Like things just started taking off for me, and I said, you know what? Like I made my salary in I think I made my salary in like 30 days. I was making like 30,000 at the time. I made my salary in like 30 days, and I said, you know what? I'm just take this full time, and I did that, man. I've been full time ever since. So. It's been a long journey. It's been a blessing, a lot of ups and downs, definitely throughout this journey, man. But I'm so glad I stuck with it.
And it seems like you're doing amazing, man. What was the trade what was your biggest trade during that moment?
At the time, it was so what gave me that belief factor when I said I could do this was this oil trade. I made like 18,000 on it. So I made about 18,000 on the oil trade, and then that week I think I made like 25,000 trading some Nas and stuff like that. In that month, I had a really good month. I think I made like 35 or 36. And then within 3 months, I was able to make about 80, 90,000 or something like that. And that's why I was like, if I'm getting paid 30,000 on my job and I can just make that literally, I just looked at it like, hey, I can make more money day trading. And then that's when I kind of just took day trading more serious. Now, there's been a lot of ups and downs, 2022, I lost a lot of bread, like, what I'm saying? But I had the idea where I'm like, hey, you know what? I can do this, and I stuck with it. And, I'm starting to see the benefits in it, man. So I'm really blessed.
Man, where do you think the market is going right now? Trump is president.
Honestly, I think the market's going to stay in an uptrend, just due to, everything as far as, with all the news, the election and stuff like that. I actually caught some trades with the election. I think everything's going to continue to go in the uptrend. I'm kind of want to kind of monitor what it does during inauguration. Typically, sometimes the market likes to sell off during that inauguration period, right? Where I think it's like February-ish. But I think the market's heading, in the uptrend. As far as Bitcoin and stuff like that, I'm heavily invested into Bitcoin. I've been investing in Bitcoin for a long time now. Kind of seeing the trends of kind of where it's going. And I think where everything's going, Bitcoin's going to continue to skyrocket and keep going up. And inflation is going to continue going up as well, based off of, everything that's been transpiring. I think people put more perspectives on, presidents helping with inflation, but I don't think inflation is going anywhere personally. I think inflation's here to stay. And I think things are only going to get worse from here, as far as things get more expensive, as far as, eggs and just groceries and everything. Everything's going to continue to go up as long as Bitcoin's going up, because I believe that Bitcoin is going to be, just give you more buying power as a fact of, if you have more Bitcoin, the people that are able to invest in Bitcoin typically are people that are doing, financially okay, right? In my opinion, because a lot of people, individuals, don't even have the money to invest into, assets and stuff like that. So with that being said, I feel like the people that are invested in Bitcoin, the fact that Bitcoin is going to continue to skyrocket and go up. I don't know if you ever noticed and looked at a lot of these big companies like BlackRock, all these high-end companies are buying a lot of Bitcoin. What they're doing, they're increasing their buying power, right? Whenever you get Bitcoin, you're going to be increasing your buying power, because I don't know if you notice, as time goes on, the price of Bitcoin is going to continue to skyrocket, and you're going to be able to continue to buy more. Inflation is what's actually kind of eating up our pockets as far as your everyday dollar. So the value of the dollar is dropping. So now on the everyday expense, you're starting to see, you're not really noticing it up front, but from a long-term perspective, you're noticing that the fact of you're not able to buy as much with the dollars you have. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I think everything's headed. I think we're, going to continue to skyrocket as far as the economy is going to go up, but everything's going to get more expensive as far as rent and all this stuff like that.
Man, Bitcoin touched 90K today. You think it's going to touch 100K before the end of the year?
I believe so, man.
And where's the highest you think it's going to go before we start seeing a real peak?
I think it's going to go to like 120, 130, and then I think it's going to retrace, come back under 100, and then continue to go up from there. I personally don't believe Bitcoin's going to get back into the 60,000 range.
No. There's been a pattern throughout the years. Bitcoin dropping, getting up to a new high, then dropping 20, 30,000 points.
Mhm.
But if it gets up there, I don't see 60,000, 70,000 even in a year or two. We would have to see a collapse to be able
I
to see.
think right now, based off of everything that's happening, I think Bitcoin's just going to continue going up. And then it's going to push up to a good like 130, 140. And then I think it's going to retrace, get under 100 again, and then probably work its way back into it. I don't honestly believe Bitcoin is going to get below that point ever again, me personally. Now, if I feel like if Bitcoin does kind of get under, that 60,000 range, I think that's a steal as far as a long-term perspective. But overall, based off of everything that I see as far as price action and stuff, who knows? But like I said, I think honestly, Bitcoin's just going to continue going up.
Like I said, you got to kind of see a whole collapse before you see 60,000 or under that again.
Right.
We're moving fast. Donald Trump is talking about pushing Bitcoin forward, pushing it upon Congress. You see a lot of businesses, like you said, BlackRock, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, even the bigger institution like PwC, Goldman Sachs. They're all trying to get their hands on a slew of Bitcoin and double down on it.
I mean, I just kind of believe in the overall perspective of Bitcoin. I think, me trying to be in the Forex currency space, I always kind of thought from this perspective, I always thought like, hey, Bitcoin is the only universal currency out right now where, I can go to China, I can go to Mexico, and that's the universal currency where I can exchange money and everybody knows of it. You see what I'm saying? And I think as far as Bitcoin being able to like be set digitally and how everything's going from a long-term perspective, I think the value is just so high that it's never going to actually drop because you got to think Bitcoin is a decentralized network, right? So you can send a lot of these crypto payments and a lot of things you can do. You can do a lot of those things and not really be traced unless you're using like Coinbase or like actual US, government apps and stuff like that. But, if you're using these decentralized wallets and stuff like that, the way that blockchain set up, man, you can't really be traced necessarily as far as who and what owns that wallet.
Man, what stocks are you looking at?
As far as long-term stocks, I'm just in the major ones. I've learned my game. I used to do a lot more like short-term stuff, but now I just focus on like the big companies and just wait for pullbacks like Apple, Nvidia, MicroStrategy, stuff like that. I don't really finagle with the small ones anymore. I just focus on the big ones and then just wait for pullbacks. I'm more of like a long-term game on the stock aspect. Now, as far as like crypto stuff like that, I do dibble and dabble into some cryptos like Shiba. I really believe in Solana. Solana's very high. I think Solana is going to be, maybe hit 500-600 when it's all said and done. Just due to the fact of the value that it brings. I mean, Solana has the fastest transaction speed in crypto. Just so understanding that concept, and I don't know if you actually use Solana. It's very fast. So just knowing that, I believe Solana's value is way underpriced. And then with this Bitcoin run, I don't know if you ever noticed, before a lot of these altcoins were actually shot up, Solana is one of the ones that actually stayed afloat. If you go look at kind of like November 2023, Solana went from $15 all the way back into 200. I think right now it's at 220. So you got to think from that perspective, it's already 10 times that investment, if not more, just within a year because of the value of what Solana brings. If you look at other crypto coins, especially the major ones, not really many other than Solana is actually moving the way Solana is doing. So from that long-term perspective, I think Solana is really worth about $600, $700. I'm heavily invested into it. I got into it at 15, 20, and then 23. Sold at like 150, and then I added some more. So I'm heavily invested into that, man. That's something I see, and I really believe in it for the long term.
I have a whole bunch of Solana, man. I took an opportunity when it fell. I got it at the $18, $20 range.
Oh, man.
I never thought it would be at 200. I thought I would probably see $50, $60. And because it fell so hard,
Yeah, it
it
felt so
felt
hard.
it felt hard. And it felt
But what,
ridiculously hard. But I
what
was, you know what? Let me buy some, do $500-$600 at 7. I never thought it would be at 200.
Mhm.
Um, I have Bitcoin as well. At this point, is like, when do you sell it?
I don't think you should sell it. Me personally, I think Bitcoin's valuable. I literally stopped selling my Bitcoin probably like last year. And honestly, I started taking more like anytime somebody says, hey, Bitcoin, I started just taking it more in like as far as a payment method. I may not have that instant gratification, like, oh man, if somebody's paying me something, Apple Pay or Zelle, but I start thinking from a long-term perspective, and I'm like, yo, I think Bitcoin's the future, and honestly, I try to do everything I can not to kind of avoid selling those things, at least Solana or Bitcoin. Now the other
Yeah,
one, the different one, I've lost I've lost money on the other altcoins. So, but now based off kind of where I'm headed and where I'm going, I think I'm just focused on like Solana, Bitcoin, all the big ones, because those ones, man, as long as you keep catching those retracements, man, I feel like you can just, at least
yeah,
see a
you're gonna make a ton of money. I don't sell any of the Bitcoins, even when they pay me in Bitcoin and they say, "Oh, I'll pay you in Bitcoin." I just eat the charge on the other side. I end up pulling money out of my own pocket and paying for the services myself.
Mhm.
Instead of. But I want to ask you about Tesla, man.
Yeah. What's your thoughts as far as what I think?
Yeah, what do you think? It's like before
Uh,
the election, it was 251. Now it's 330.
Man, I think Tesla's going to continue to go up. I just got into Tesla. I was in it earlier, but then I sold everything. But I think right before the election, I got back in. I think Tesla honestly is probably just going to continue going up based off of what they got going on there as far as like SpaceX and Tesla, just the future as far as the overall concept behind it and what they're doing with the Tesla robots and stuff like that. I think it's just going to continue to skyrocket. Um, Honestly, I don't really know what to expect. As far as like the stocks, I typically stay in like the currency crypto range, but focus on just the bigger companies when it comes to stocks, like Nvidia, Tesla, MicroStrategy, and stuff like that, and then Apple, the big name ones. But I'm more big on just the actual crypto space. That's kind of where my main bread and butter. That's what I love.
Man, so you big onto Forex.
Yeah, so I like currencies and stuff like that. Nasdaq 100, and that kind of like that. What I'm looking for.
Yeah. So, man, how do you people like? I know Forex is one of the tougher markets to be consistent at. How do you stay consistent in that?
For me, there's so many ways, man. You can minimize risk. I trade live accounts, I trade funded accounts. So you can use regulated prop, and use prop firm capital as well too. For me, it's just hitting my targets. One thing that kind of has been helping me this year compared to the other years is I have a certain time that I trade, and then I'm not really trading outside of that time. And then once I'm done, I'm typically done. And that could be an hour, 15 minutes a day. I trade during the same time. I look for the same kind of setup, and then I go about my day regardless of decision. Sometimes I lose, sometimes I win. But I've learned as far as my consistency with my risk to reward ratios and stuff like that has been completely better whenever I kind of just do that. I don't like trading and looking at the screen all day. I have kind of just set alerts. The alerts are kind of like my discipline aspects, to where it's now I'm only looking at price when it gets to those levels that I think price is going to react at. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to, looking at the screen. Because sometimes you can just look at the screen, man. I've been through everything as far as the ups and downs. Like I'm talking about 2022, I lost so much bread, just because I used to look at the screen all day, and I realized for me, the way I trade is like if I set alerts and I just come back to it whenever my phone rings, I look at it like, hey, that's my sign to get in. So I typically do that to stay disciplined. There's other factors as well too, man, but that's what I do.
No, I remember looking at the screen all day, man. That doesn't even help you one bit. You tend to be antsy, rush. You tend to make decisions that's
Yeah.
not part of your trading plan.
And then I learned, like, for me, more it's about keeping the money. I feel like everybody can make the money, but I've just done a better job of like keeping the money. Knowing when to withdraw, knowing that, hey, if I have a bad week, right, doesn't mean I just go in and try to repeat it. Or if I have a really good week, doesn't mean I try to scale up. I try to just minimize risk as much as possible. And I think it's been working for me, man.
So tell me about Legendary Sniper FX, man, Trading Academy.
Yeah, so Legendary Sniper Effects, man, what we do, we help individuals start day trading, right? We focus on beginners, intermediate, advanced. I've been doing it for about 4 years. Me personally, I enjoy doing it every day. It's kind of like my purpose, man. I love waking up, with something to look forward to. I'm a natural competitor, man. So I love, being in a chat, basically telling people exactly what I'm seeing, what I'm doing. I just basically show people what I do on an everyday basis. Show them the wins, show them the losses, show them what it's like, my entry points. I'm a little more kind of hands-on with my guys, right? I'm kind of in the field where I like to show them exactly what I'm looking at before. And then, I want to help them make money as well, too. So I try to call the trade as well for them. So that way they can see, that those things are great teaching points as well. Because, if the trade doesn't go the right way, I can teach on it. And if the trade does go the right way, okay, well, everybody made some money. We can at least teach on it still and see why that trade is successful. I like it too, man. It holds me accountable and it makes me become my best version of myself, because not only am I helping people, but I'm dealing with people's finances. I'm dealing with, people's emotions every day. And I don't, some people may look at that as pressure and stuff like that, but I look at it like, man, I used to play in front of 100,000 people in football. Like, this is nothing. So I enjoy what I do every day, man. I'm blessed. I'm thankful. And like I said, this is my purpose, so I enjoy it.
Man, I really appreciate your time coming on, man. But definitely, anybody out there listening, go to marathonmoneyplus.com. Legendary Sniper FX. This stuff is gonna be on there. I'm gonna make sure, but check it out. Definitely those people that are very much interested in day trading, and putting that type of work in. I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna tell you right now, firsthand, day trading ain't easy. A lot of I used to be a professional trader, so if you can get a consistent company, I believe. I looked at his stuff. I'm with everything he's doing. You can just listen to him and hear that he has a very solid foundation. Been through the patches, been through the rough hills, been through the ups and downs. So you guys wanna really get into it. Definitely for the beginners who want to get into day trading. Don't get in there. Try to, he probably tell you get in there and you just, you get that first lottery, what I call it, a lottery. The individual who the first time getting in, they make $1,000 and then they think, yo, I don't,
I
I don't need this, and then you end up blowing your entire account. And I'm pretty sure, including me, I know professionals, I know people have been doing, they have blown multiple accounts. Because trading makes you cocky. Trading makes you cocky. It does. It makes you have an ego, because once you start thinking you make money, but Derek is right. The name of the game is who can keep it the longest. That's the name of the game.
That's it, man. Slow and steady wins the race, man. One thing I always say with people, I never compare my step 1 to other people's step 50, man.
For sure.
Definitely in this game, man. It's not easy, but if you stick with it, man, I think you're always going to see, as far as a good return, if you stick with it for the long term. One thing that helped me, man, is just I stopped looking for instant gratification, and I realized with anything, start treating more like a business. You don't get rich overnight.
No, you don't.
You supply yourself, you show up every day, and then like I said, the work is going to speak for itself, man. So,
No, you don't, man.
Honor, and I appreciate you having me on this call, man.
Man, I want to say one thing about instant gratification. A lot of you people think, and I get the message all the time, a lot of people think day trading is instant gratification. It really not. It's a long-term process. That's all I wanted to say. Man, thanks, Derek. Legendary Sniper FX. Everything's gonna be on Marathon Money Plus. Check it out. You can get to them there. You have a Discord, right?
I do. So I have a Telegram group, guys, where I teach people exactly how to day trade, man, from start to finish. I'm actually gonna be hosting a boot camp December 2nd to December 4th, man. I'm gonna be showing people the ins and outs of day trading from beginner stuff to all the way to advanced stuff. I'm talking about how to set your stop loss and TPs, introductions, terminology, everything you need, man. Like I said, I'll be doing these boot camps typically about 2 to 3 times a year, man. But this is actually my final boot camp. So I'm excited, man. I get to show people exactly what I do on an everyday basis and how they can get started. So if you're interested in that, feel free to contact the page, man. It's been a
Man,
blessing.
you hear it yourself, man. You hear it from the main guy. So everything's gonna be on the website. Check them out, or you can just type it in Google, Legendary Sniper FX. Hit them on, or go through Instagram. You know, I mean, that's how I found them.
Appreciate
All right,
you.
guys.
God bless you, man.
Peace.